Welcome back to my supplemental 5th Ed D&D content. Once again, doing supporting story stuff to do at the beginning of the Lost Mine of Phandelver, the 5th Ed sort of starter dungeon. So I've talked about a couple of videos so far, talking about the big picture of the world and also the specific plot hook for the PCs and how I sort of modified each of those. Today, looking at a specific plot hook done for one PC. Now, this is the sort of thing that you could do for any adventure, but it does hook in quite significantly with the other pieces I did. So it sort of touches on that lore, and it also tries to do what I was saying of trying to give the PC a very strong incentive to be part of this plot. Introduce them to the characters and give them a stake in it. Now, I should say, I wrote this piece for a player, which is a bit cheeky in a way. I have a very good relationship with that player. We're on the same level with character stuff, and they knew that if they were unhappy with anything in the story, they were welcome to rewrite or say, can we change this or something like that. And it was just basically to give them the idea and say if they were happy with it or not. We could tweak from there. But yes, this character was a Drow monk, and the idea being he had been cast out from his people. Without too much detail, he basically found himself on the wrong side of something and had gone out into the world and had ended up at a monastery where he'd been taught at great length the value of morality, and he'd ended up being there for generations because Drow were so long-lived. But he was now going out into the world, and he basically had a book of how to be a good person that he was trying to learn. And so that was the character we were working with, this sort of Drow monk with quite a dark past. And so what he got written was this. You owe the Rock Seekers a lot. The Rock Seekers are the dwarves you have the most time for. They might be the only dwarves you actually like. You came to Neverwinter having faced everything from cold distrust to open hostility from regional towns and villages, and you knew the cities were the most open-minded. Apparently no one told the town guards that when they arrested you on sight. It took a lot of self-restraint not to kill them on the spot, and that restraint was sorely tested in the coming days. The authorities were inclined to believe the guards. Any Drow in the city must be a spy. No such thing as a good Drow. You weren't even going to get a defence at the hearing, which you weren't going to be present at. It was Thardan Rockseeker, the middle brother, who got wind of the arrest and remembered some odd stories about a Drow helping out farmers and lost travellers in the wilderness recently. He started asking about it, and when the authorities brushed aside his questions about why a spy would walk openly through the gates and start asking passers-by about lodgings, it was his dwarven stubbornness that refused to let the matter drop. The younger brother, Nundro Rockseeker, was the only one who thought of coming to see you and actually hearing your story. It was Gundren, the eldest, who went into bat for you with the Council of Nobles, called them to task for judging a man for the colour of his skin alone, for claiming to be multicultural and welcoming to all races, and then imprisoning a man who'd done no crime purely because of his race. Ask them what would have happened if the legendary hero of old, the Drow, Drizzt Do'Urden, apologies if I've pronounced that wrong, had been locked up before embarking on his life of legend for his dark elvish skin. Good Drow aren't a reality, they'd responded. We can't expect any Drow who walks through the gates to be Do'Urden reborn. Well, we certainly can't if we arrest them on sight, Gundren had countered. The debate had shamed the council into releasing you without trial. Even, at Gundren's insistence, into a quiet, formal written apology. People were still distrustful of you, but it was clear that anyone who the Rock Seekers had influence with were willing to give you a chance. They'd even managed to throw some work your way now and then, more when they learned you weren't afraid of a fight. But nothing big, nothing quite like this. This is one of those a handful of men can make the difference type moments, Gundren tells you. You can show the people in Phandalin that there is such a thing as a good drow. And plus, with 100th share you can set yourself up, so not having work isn't an issue anymore. You nod. You owe the Rockseekers a lot. And you want to help. Not just because you owe them. Not just because you can make a difference. Also because you remember the stories of your people. And you know that the dwarves and the gnomes aren't the only ones who remember Wave Echo Cave. So yeah, I wanted that sense for the character that they had personal investment in this. This was people that they knew and cared about, and this was an opportunity for them to change perception. They'd struggled with racism, and the idea of to be able to go to a place that is really struggling and be someone who's there in their time of need might give them the in that they needed, that people aren't just going to treat them as drow and nothing else. And also, it meant that just in that little thing of each one of the Rockseeker brothers having a role to play in this guy's story, it means that when we find one of them dead at the mine, suddenly this is really personal, especially when it seems like it may be a drow that struck the killing blow. Suddenly it's really personal. So yeah, that was the brief I did for that specific character, and the player actually came back and didn't so much say I want to change this, but did a response piece. So did the next part of the story. And yeah, it's something I encourage people to do, to set up characters in such a way that it's not just a matter of you're paying 10 gold and then you're taking your chances on whether they're interested in being part of the adventure, but you can actually build them into the story and make it so the things that happen in the story are personal to them. And that's what I want to do with this. Thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I have one more of these ones to do, so next time we'll look at a Gnomish Tinkerer. So thanks for listening and let us know what you think.